Welcome back to the Vike Nite podcast. I'm your host, Alaana. I'm here with fellow Vikings lifelong fan, Phil, and Lucas, who's here in a way. He's reporting to us his thoughts from Mexico. The Vikings have a 3-4 record now after an infuriating loss, and they now sit at the bottom of the NFC North. And we have a lot to talk about. We've got 3 parts to our show. We're going to start with a quick game recap and talk about some roster news, move on to our awards, and then talk about what we're looking forward to this Sunday. It's Vike Nite.
Let's talk Vikes.
It's Vike Nite. It's Vike Nite.
What up, Vike Nite Nation? This is Lucas with a special report from Puerto Morales, Mexico. We're having a great time down here, minus that painful game that we watched last night. Really one of the worst Vikings games that I have ever seen. Right up there with the Josh Freeman game. I'm thinking Joe Webb versus the Packers in the playoffs. That was ugly. So let's talk about it. Let's get into it.
Well, the Vikings lost 37-10 to the Chargers in yet another embarrassing Thursday night football primetime loss. In fact, the Vikings have not won a Thursday night away game since 1978.
Hooey.
They had a short week to prepare, and it did not appear they were prepared at all. As Lucas said, it was quite ugly. Carson Wentz had a record of being 7-0 on Thursday night. That wasn't until this game where he was nuked into oblivion. Antimatter met matter, and he exploded. There was the birth of the wincing Wentz, and it was just hard to watch. We'll talk about that more as well. He had that touchdown pass to Addison, had me thinking maybe we can get a comeback win like they can they've proven to do that. Not lately though, and that thought didn't last that long. Once again, we also lost a couple guys during this game. So Phil, let's get into that with the injury updates.
Yeah, so we're sitting not too hot really. We have, first of all, we had Jeff Okudah left the game with a head injury. So, and that's after, he suffered a concussion earlier in the season, came back from that. So, anytime you're having these compounding concussions and head injuries, his return likely is not anytime soon. It very well could officially be nudie season.
Yep.
So expecting him to step in next week and completely shut down JMO. And I believe in nudie 100%. But yeah, Jeff Okudah, yikes with that. Jonathan Grenard, he was injured late in the game with some kind of ailment. I don't think we've heard yet as to what exactly he was dealing with, but he was able to walk off under his own power, which is really good to see, and he was really just chomping at the bit to return. So I'm hoping that he's fine, and I think he will be okay to play in a week and a half here. Josh Oliver, he had to be carted off the sideline in the beginning of the second quarter with a foot injury, so it's to be determined on his status. We had KOC in the post-game presser saying he likes where Christian Darrisaw and Brian, it wasn't the post-game presser, but I think in the next few days he said this, that Christian Darrisaw and Brian O'Neill, he likes where they're at in terms of their knee injuries, and said that he's hoping that they'll have a normal practice week. So, you never really know with KOC. I don't know what to believe from him with his view of players and their injuries and whatnot, especially after this game. He also said that he has no concrete update on Van Ginkel's status, hoping that it's sooner rather than later. And, we've heard that before. So really hoping that Van Ginkel can come back soon here, because it's looking like we could possibly not see him for the rest of the season, which would be awful. So yeah, that's for the most part the injury updates here. Alaana?
So, Phil, I was watching this game at work, or hearing it sometimes. I couldn't watch it. But the parts that I could watch, it was so difficult to see the mismanagement of Carson Wentz. We were talking about it at work. People were texting me about it. Everything I saw on social media was, why is he out there? I also learned I cannot watch games at work. I got too flustered, too distraught. I'm usually so good at keeping my composure for these things, but this season is just, every loss gets harder and harder for me. I messed up something in my actual work because I was so flustered by this game. I made it everyone's problem. It was just, I don't know. They killed him. The Vikings killed Carson Wentz.
They did. And I actually wish I would have worked this game. I took the day off, so I'm sitting there and all I have to watch is this Thursday night game that's being nationally televised. And here we are making a clown of ourselves yet again here. I saw a few people on X saying that Carson Wentz was the sacrificial lamb on Thursday. And honestly, that's the only way I can look at it now. It's the only way I can make sense of this game. Wentz has been beaten into the ground at an exponential rate these last few weeks, and KOC marched his broken ass out there in a must-win game against an offensive line with an offensive line without its two cornerstones and a center who's never played center in his career except for these last 2 or 3 games. He was set up for failure in my mind. And you know what? If we were going to punt this game away, Alaana, why not just start the healthiest quarterback in Brosmer and you rest Carson, you get the mini bye, and he can back up McCarthy against Detroit. So it really didn't make sense to me with the decision there.
Apparently he said that KOC wasn't comfortable putting Brosmer out in that situation at that point. But how could you be comfortable keeping Wentz?
Right. And I mean, it's just Wentz is the vet. He's our backup. And if the plan is to have McCarthy coming back against Detroit, we don't want our best backup option being just, I don't even know where Carson's at, if he's in a hospital right now or what. Make no mistake, though, I would like to say that this game was a failure on all 3 levels. And, we'll get into that. I'd like to get into as much as I can because I have a lot to say about this game. So, Alaana, let's go to awards here.
Yeah, well, KOC said himself, not much positivity to take from this game. But let's start our award section with the Pride of Valhalla Award, where we did find a little, bits of positivity here and there. It's going to go to a Viking who showed that. Let's start with Lucas's pick.
My Pride Award today is going to Eric Wilson. Really saw him never give up in that game last night. He's always hustling. He's always near the ball. He finished with 6 tackles on the day. And what I think of when I think of Eric Wilson is just a better version of Ivan Pace. And so I think we go forward with him as the starter over Ivan Pace. They're actually both undrafted linebackers from Cincinnati. They are similar in size and structure. I mean, they basically are the same height and weight. They play the game the same way. Really fast linebackers that get to the ball. But what Wilson does so much better than Pace is that he knows his position just a little bit better, and that comes from his years of experience. Wilson has been in the league for at least 6 years longer than Pace, and that veteran status has now allowed him to play smarter. So we're not seeing the missed tackles, we're not seeing the blown assignments from Eric Wilson. So I think Eric Wilson is the starter going forward. You bring in Ivan Pace if you want a blitzing linebacker or somebody that's just going to wreak havoc. So I like those roles for those guys. On to the doggone it. You could essentially give this to almost everybody on the team, but I wanted to get really specific in my hate here today, and that's Ben Urosek is going to be my doggone it. He had 1 catch on 5 yards, but it wasn't really about his status as a receiver that made me so upset. It was really how he was in the run blocking and the pass blocking game. We were down Josh Oliver and CJ Ham, our 2 most crucial blocking backs and tight ends on our team, and really, I just felt jealous watching the Chargers offense because they have these guys, man, these dogs. I'm talking about number 44, Scott Matlock, a 6'4", 296-pound fullback. That's insane. Pair him with number 42, Tucker Fisk, 6'4", 285 at tight end. They had guys that were mauling us in the run game. And really, at this point, I have to look at the roster construction. And if you can't block with 5 linemen, then you need guys like this Matlock and Fisk that can help out those blockers. So I really want to give this doggone it to Kwesi for roster construction here, because I think offensive line was something we went into the year thinking was a strong suit. It has really proven to be our biggest weakness and what is tearing this team apart. And I just think we need more guys like that. So shout out the Chargers. They got a good offense. They were really clicking against the Vikings on Thursday. And I just want to see more from that department. Our backup fullbacks, our backup tight ends coming in, being excellent blockers, because we need it. Being down both of our tackles, our best blocking tight end, our fullback, we need help now. So we need to go get some guys now.
Well, I totally agree with Eric Wilson. Really, he seems like a kind of guy you could give a pride award to every single week that he's been playing. So I'd have to absolutely agree that have him as a starter moving forward. Ivan Pace is the blitzing linebacker. That makes total sense. Absolutely. My pride for this game is on the offense. We're going with Justin Jefferson. Of course.
We absolutely have to talk about him. He is totally worthy of the Pride of Valhalla award.
Right. Another guy that you could give it to week in and week out. He finishes this game with 7 catches on 11 targets, had 74 yards. He was really the only wideout that was producing in that first half there, and really for most of the game. Kind of fizzled out as the game got out of hand. But man, Jets is just always reliable and gives it his all. He's just a hallmark player of this organization, and it's just so frustrating right now because I feel like we are wasting his prime.
Yep.
Because Kwesi and O'Connell's this 3 to 4 year plan that they were talking about when they first got here has been a complete carnival, and we'll get into that later. But Justin Jefferson, shout out to you for putting the team on your back, trying to do as much as you could. Just wasn't enough in all the other phases. And
I sadly agree with you. It hurts so much to see him, like you said, give it his all and just be frustrated. I feel like I can't even find the words because it's so frustrating. Like you said, it's really the word that comes to mind when it feels like at the start of this season we had every piece of the puzzle and it completely fell apart. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it did seem like we did have that puzzle figured out at the beginning of the season, and right now it's like we just dumped the box on the floor and trying to figure out how to put it back together here. If we try and pick out another bright spot from this game on defense, I would give my pride award to Jonathan Grenard. I thought he was really getting after it in that first half. Finishes the game with 6 total tackles. He had 1 sack, 3 tackles for loss, and 2 quarterback hits. Now, who knows if he would have had an even bigger stat line if he didn't get pulled out of the game there when he, got injured or whatever. But we're going to need that intensity against Detroit next week. So hopefully he's 100%. The goof man is not nearly as mobile as Herbert, and I understand Detroit has a good offensive line. But, man, he really needs to go beast mode for that game. I feel like this was one of the first games this season where Grenard's kind of had any semblance of his self from last season when he had a career high in sacks and whatnot. So really hoping Grenard can continue on the up and up here. And, man, hope he sacks Jared Goff 7 times next week. And real quick, just to mention some honorable mentions for this game here. We had Harrison Smith leading the team in 8 solo tackles with 9 total. So kind of cool to see him turning back the clock there and, fixing other people's mess because, man, on defense, it was not a great showing overall. We had Blake Cashman, who led the team with 11 tackles. He had 6 solo. It's great to have him back this week. So we have individual defensive players on our fantasy team. And I had Blake Cashman and TJ Hawkinson playing for me.
I had Grenard.
Yeah, and Cashman put up more points than Hawkinson did. So gonna give him a pride for that. And Jalen Redmond here leading the team in pressures with 9. So that's great to see. Jalen Redmond, he's been huge for us so far this season. Keep it up, big red man.
Great moves.
Great moves. Keep it up. Proud of you.
So the Doggone It Awards this week, take your pick.
Right.
Seriously, take your pick. The Doggone It Award goes to those players that we feel just did not step up in a Viking-like way. So let's start with Luke's.
On to the Doggone It. You could essentially give this to almost everybody on the team, but I wanted to get really specific in my hate here today, and that's Ben Eurosek is going to be my Doggone It. He had 1 catch on 5 yards, but it wasn't really about his status as a receiver that made me so upset. It was really how he was in the run blocking and the pass blocking game. We were down Josh Oliver and CJ Ham, our 2 most crucial blocking backs and tight ends on our team, and really I just felt jealous watching the Chargers offense because they had guys, man, these dogs. I'm talking about number 44 Scott Matlock, a 6'4", 296-pound fullback. That's insane. Pair him with number 42 Tucker Fisk, 6'4", 285 at tight end. They had guys that were mauling us in the run game, and really at this point I have to look at the roster construction, and if you can't block with 5 linemen, then you need guys like this Matlock and Fisk that can help out those blockers. So I really want to give this Doggone It to Kwesi for roster construction here, because I think offensive line was something we went into the year thinking was a strong suit. It has really proven to be our biggest weakness and what is tearing this team apart. And I just think we need more guys like that. So shout out the Chargers. They got a good offense. They were really clicking against the Vikings on Thursday. And I just want to see more from that department. Our backup fullbacks, our backup tight ends coming in, being excellent blockers, because we need it. Being down both of our tackles, our best blocking tight end, our fullback, we need help.
Yeah, I'd have to totally agree with Lucas. I think it's not ideal having Ben Urasek out there, especially with Josh Oliver out. He's pretty much one of the best pass blocking tight ends in football. So really hoping he can get back healthy here.
Wasn't there an episode where either you or Lucas said, I hope we never see him?
Yes, I do believe so. That was in our preseason.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Our big breakdown.
Spoke that one into existence. Yep. So for my Doggone It award this week, Alaana, I'm going to be giving it to Kevin O'Connell, of course, because he sacrificed Carson Wentz, literally sent him out to the slaughter. Carson was sacked 5 times and he was hit for another 8. He was pressured an astounding 17 times on 32 dropbacks. So that's over a 50% rate there. Yet again, Kevin just did not have this team prepared to play whatsoever. It was a complete no-show.
Yeah.
We possessed the ball for just 21 minutes of this game.
I believe the Chargers' first drive was like 7.5 minutes.
Right. Well, they had drives like that for most of the game.
Yeah.
We possessed the ball, 21 minutes, 164 total yards of offense. Compare that to LA's whopping 419. Got absolutely dog walked. 34 total rushing yards from us on 11 carries. I do not understand the game plan at this point. I'm not liking KOC's play design here. There was a 3rd and 1 pass play. Just these long developing plays on these short yardage situations, I think, is killing us. And maybe KOC should be probed by the NFL or by the FBI, should I say, for taking Wentz over 4.5 sacks, leaving him out there. I think it clearly should have been Brosmer entering that second half.
Yeah.
And man, by the end of that game, our ginger boy was hurting. So moving on from there, I have the defensive doggone it, which I'm going to be giving to the interior defensive line just as a whole. I kind of have to do these overarching doggone it's here because, like Lucas said, there's so many you could pick from. But our run defense is just a joke right now. We got completely obliterated by Kamani Vidal and Justin Herbert. LA had a season high 207 total rushing yards. Vidal rushed 23 times for 117 yards and a touchdown. And you had Herbert scampering for 62 yards on 7 runs. Right now, Alaana, I'd say trading Harrison Phillips is looking really dumb right now.
Yeah. And we thought, I know this wasn't what the award was for, but you mentioned mad scientist weeks ago. And we thought like, ooh, they know what they're doing. It'll all make sense. It'll all come together.
Right. It's really not making sense. And that was he was a pillar of that defense, not only as a captain, but also as an excellent run blocker. And you take him out of the equation, and this is what we have right now. Jonathan Allen, he finally got a sack this game, but man, him and Hargrave have just not been it. So plenty of doggones to really go around here. But I got an honorary mention with Jordan Mason. He had 4 carries for 3 yards.
Not what I expected at all. Not what I expected.
And I understand the game got away from them in a little bit with just them scoring, running up the score here, but that's not what you want to be seeing from your starting running back having 3 yards on the day. Just ridiculous.
Even, Aaron Jones was back, but I still thought, well, it's fine. Like Mason's still going to have a decent day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, Jordan Mason had 4 carries, I believe. Aaron Jones had 5 carries, and he had 15 yards. So it's like, man, the O-line isn't getting anything done at this point. And I'd also like to throw in the cornerbacks here. They got shredded as well. You had McConkey and then that Gadsden popping off for 20 plus fantasy points. So it's just really tough. And
there's so much to say here. And I want to touch on KOC again.
Okay.
In a press conference, I can't remember exactly when it was, but he was saying, the typical, we need to press onward and forward. This starts with me, that kind of thing. Mm-hmm. But he sounded defeated, sad, not the KOC that I'm used to after a loss. I don't understand even who this team is as far as their identity is right now. Mm. And I understand that it was a short week. We are missing people still. Mm-hmm. But you need to be more prepared for guys like Darisaw and O'Neal to come out because they're prone to injury. If something happens, we need to be able to have the backup guys swoop in. You know what I mean? And
right.
I know there's a lot I don't understand, but come on, I know.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know if I'd say O'Neal is prone to injury maybe, and I'm really hoping Darisaw isn't, even though he's been dealing with quite a bit of stuff. But you're absolutely right in the sense that we need to have a better plan for this offensive line. And I think KOC is a little bit defeated right now. He's been frustrated in the press conferences.
Which valid, I couldn't help but notice.
Well, right. But, he just has to do a better job. And he said it himself. And, you have the mini bye week to get these guys back on track here. And he said we really need to try and find out our identity because no one really knows. So,
and it's humbling, I think, after the last 2 years.
Right. Oh, and
these whole
former
losses.
Coach of the year and everything. So
yeah,
it's just been a tough break for a lot of aspects of our roster right now. But
maybe that KOC Kwesi honeymoon phase of this collab is over.
Hopefully not, but I will get into
We'll get into a more
gro-
steady,
gripes with Kwesi here towards the end. Yeah. So let's kick it into Dag Nabbit Awards, Alaana.
So this is a new award. We started it last episode. This goes to a player who was, we feel, screwed, robbed. Something was taken from them in some way. We'll start with Lucas's Dag Nabbit.
The Dag Nabbit Award, this one is too obvious. Will, through the wire, Reichard. I can't believe this shit. We're talking 2 times this year that this man has missed a kick because it hit the wire. He's 14 for 16 on the year. 2 missed kicks because of a wire. I can't even believe that we're talking about this. They need a designated wire spotter on the sideline. I'll do it. I will stand and I will just stare at that wire, and if the ball hits it at all, I'm going straight to Kevin O'Connell. I'm letting him know, yo, that kick hit the wire. We need to have them look at that and take it back. How are they not seeing this in real time? Why is this always coming out the next day? This is like pull your hair out madness type shit. I can't even believe that we're talking about this again. And on the broadcast, you have Al Michaels just talking about how the NFL wants him to hush about it. And then Will hits the wire on that same kick. This is insanity. So I can't even believe that we're talking about this at this point. So.
Just to mention that Will Reichard, that is bizarre to me. I saw the clip, and I don't know if it's been absolutely confirmed at this point, but it sure as hell looks like he hits that wire again. So, I'm beginning to think at this point before the games they should listen to Through the Wire by Kanye for their hype song. Or
that was playing in my head, or has been playing in my head since he said it. I kind of chuckled.
Yeah, for me too. So it's just ridiculous. And it's honestly kind of a weird conspiracy at this point. Like all these NFL covering up something and whatnot. It's just please God, Detroit, don't put up 50 wires in front of the goalpost. Yeah, so for my Dag Nabbit, I'm going with a couple players here because I think there's a couple players that are very well deserving just as much as maybe Will Reichard here. Isaiah Rodgers is completely robbed of that pick 6 by the refs in the first quarter. And it was a similar situation to last week with TJ Hawkinson, where New York called in and said it wasn't a catch, but it was a little bit different in the sense that on the field, they ruled it an interception for a pick 6, and then they had New York call in, and then, one of the analysts was saying, guys, this is going to be a catch. I don't see enough definitive evidence to overturn this.
And we were with them.
With what?
We also thought, this is not irrefutable.
Oh, yeah, no. It's just there wasn't definitive evidence to overturn that call on the field. And if you're talking about this micro bobble with his hand already under the ball and it's secured, it just doesn't make sense to me. And that is such a game-changing type play.
And right at the beginning of the game, too.
Right. And, it's just we've been playing from behind for so many of these games, and we saw what it looks like at Cincinnati when we're playing ahead.
Yeah.
So who knows what this would have done momentum-wise had he got that pick 6. We score first on a defensive score. And, despite the offense playing like ass, who knows? I mean, the game could have gone very differently if the refs would not have screwed us over here once again.
That was a little controversial. I heard a mix of opinions of people who were thinking along our train of thought, where it looked like his arm, there was a little bobble, but it seemed like he had it. But then it seemed like other people saw that, no, it was too much of a bobble. I've heard from fans, I've heard mixed reaction, but I don't know.
It wasn't too much of a bobble. It was
I agree with you.
Complete horseshit, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Miles Price here also got screwed over because, again, the special teams penalties are calling back these amazing returns that he's having. I think Miles Price has been incredible for us but we haven't been able to see his production actually on the stat sheets and stuff because it's getting called back by these special teams penalties. We have
The penalties.
The penalties are insane. We
This
have
game.
14 special teams penalties through 7 games. So something's got to change. We have to figure it out. And Matt Daniels needs to lock in and get those guys head screwed on straight because I'm sick and tired of seeing this guy run his ass off returning kicks just for it to be negated by some boneheaded play. So Miles Price and Isaiah Rodgers, dag nabbit. Let's kick it to mystery.
Mystery award time. Well, this is where Lucas and Phil, and I've been doing them steadily too. We all pick these mystery awards where we name an award and then we have to guess each other's. We're going to start with Lucas's again.
I am giving out the Child Called It Award.
Alaana, did you ever read the book The Child Called It?
I have zero context for this.
Okay.
I have
So
zero context for this award.
I had to think a little bit, and I was like, I'm pretty sure that was a book. And I remember people reading it growing up. It was kind of popular in like the early 2000s, I believe. But here's the synopsis of this book.
Oh, okay.
A harrowing yet inspiring true story of a young boy's abusive childhood from internationally best-selling author Dave Pelzer. Brutally
Shout out.
beaten and starved by his emotionally unstable alcoholic mother, Dave became a slave. He was no longer a boy, but an it.
This is Carson Wentz and KOC.
Yes, absolutely. And Lucas didn't even tell us the award, but I already know 100% that he's giving this to Carson Wentz because KOC was kind of a cruel, abusive, like coming home
The
from the
picture
bar.
of him with the, whatever it's called, is coming to my mind in
with
practice.
with the stick,
Yes.
just beating people down with the stick. We'll have to throw that up there also. But yeah, it's kind of like a tight deal. Carson Wentz, he's probably like, oh, dad's home from the bar, like in the locker room and like getting down and like KOC snapping the belt and whatnot. Like, geez, he really just sent him out there to suffer.
He said, you're going to take it.
You're going to take it. Mm-hmm. And it's just, we need to send in CPS, get this guy freaking rescued here.
QPS.
QPS. So, yeah, completely. That's very funny, Lucas. Great award.
If it's not
one of my
that-
favorites from you so far this year.
The Child Called It Award goes to none other than our quarterback, Carson Wentz. Anybody who read that book and was traumatized in middle school knows exactly what I'm talking about. Carson Wentz was absolutely mistreated and neglected in that game. I cannot believe that Kevin O'Connell did not pull him from that game sooner. Max Brosmer needed to be in that game for the second half. Wentz's shoulder is all but ripped off from his body. He's got broken ribs. He just looked terrible out there. It was absolute malpractice to just leave him in that game. I can't believe we are babying J.J. McCarthy so hard while simultaneously letting Carson Wentz be our punching bag. It's just awful to see. So, Vikings, come on.
Well, we called it.
Yep. Carson Wentz.
Yep.
Absolutely. It's well deserved.
Phil, what is your award?
I have the Boo Hoo Award. Now, you might be thinking I'm giving this to a certain player, but I'd ask you to think harder a little bit.
Oh, man. Okay. I'm thinking, and nothing is immediately jumping to my mind. Is there any hints at all you can give me?
It was a phrase that was said towards the end of the game that really ticked me off.
Oh, this is an analyst or an announcer.
You're correct.
Yup. I can't think of the name.
I'm giving
but-
it to Kirk Herbstreit for completely dogging on Carson Wentz being upset. You know, I've seen people say different things. Like, you don't want to see that from our quarterback. That's what he was saying. And
This was a time where it was okay. This wasn't. This one felt appropriate.
I mean, it's like saying that like the child after he gets beaten by his dad is he it's not leader like of him. He just needs to suck it up, and
This
that's not what
wasn't-
you want to see from the child called It.
This wasn't following the Eagles' loss, which in its own way was embarrassing, but it totally different situation. Like,
Right, and well, he's just it just seemed so disconnected. Like, this guy was beaten into the ground, and he tried his best to make it through that game up until the last 2 minutes. Throw Brosmer in there because we're down 5 scores, whatever it was. So yeah, just Kirk Herbstreit pissed me off with that stupid comment about how Carson Wentz is just, he can't show emotion on the sideline. Like, I'd like to see that from my quarterback with an ass whooping this bad. Like, you should be upset, pissed off, throwing your helmet. Like,
it's not like he threw it at someone, like,
no. And it's like, Carson Wentz isn't the leader of this team. It's meant for JJ, and I get that he's the quarterback right now, but like, hopefully this Carson Wentz era has come to a close. He can rest up, be the backup to JJ, and JJ can develop into a generational quarterback. For years
so
to
we
come.
hope.
So we hope.
Yes.
Alaana, I see you got an award here. What do you got?
I do. Mine is the Hops Award,
Hops Award.
referencing an interesting little moment in the game that happened on the sideline, near the sideline.
Oh, I actually know this. Is this JJ McCarthy for leaping over Justin Jefferson, almost potentially getting re-injured on that right knee?
So basically, I'm going to give it to you, but to be very specific, this goes to JJ McCarthy's ankle.
Okay.
Ankle was able to handle jumping over Justin Jefferson and avoid further injury, and I assume ankle is going to be ready this Sunday.
Hey, I mean, that's the most
Shout
athletic thing we've seen
Yep.
in a while from him. So if he's able to leap up over him, that was just crazy on the replay. I'm watching it, and like, literally Jefferson's about to tumble into flying full speed into his injured
Like
leg.
rolling.
So that would be the most Vikings thing to happen if he somehow re-injures it with our superstar best receiver in the league crashing into him. So very thankful that JJ has those hops for sure.
Yes, I would say so. Now, you've got something to say here. You make your piece, if you will.
Right. I have a little thing typed out to end this show here. Guys, I'd like to say this. I've done a lot of thinking on why this season has gone the way it's gone so far. And I've come to the conclusion that maybe, just possibly, Kwesi is out of his depth. And you heard Lucas kind of mention this, which I'm glad he did with the roster construction. I looked into his 23 draft picks before this year because I'm not going to determine those players just yet. And really, it takes time to have these players develop, but you want to try and hit on these players that have instant success ideally, or just have these flashes of being a player that can last in this league. Out of his 23 draft picks before this year, he has hit on just 4 players. And that's honestly generous. We have 2 certified in Jordan Addison and Will Reichard, absolute dogs. And I threw in Jalen Naylor and Levi Drake Rodriguez, maybe to make myself feel better. We've seen the flashes from Levi Drake. I love the intensity he plays with. Really does seem like a certified Vikings type player. And Jalen Naylor has been an all right wide receiver 3 for us. I'm just praying that JJ and Dallas Turner develop into the top players at their position, but we just haven't seen it yet. The bottom line is that we relied too heavily on free agents And this year's class has been a disaster. The NFL draft is the foundation in building a team, and it's the lifeblood, if you will. We bring in all these savvy vets from year to year, but have had nothing to show for the majority of the draft picks in this regime. Yesterday, Kobe King was claimed by the Jets, so that's yet another one that's a miss. After doing this for 3 years, we're just now finding out, Alaana, this season what virtually no draft success and a broken free agent group looks like. This season, as of this moment, seems to have a ceiling of 8 and 9, and I don't even want to talk about the floor just yet. On the brighter side, there is one possibility that I'd like to ask our audience to entertain, and that is the concept of the signature win. If Darisaw and O'Neal can return after this mini bye and we can have some semblance of protection, this game is not unwinnable. JJ McCarthy, he has the chance here to stun the world and silence the noise around him that we've just heard so much of. Is he the guy? Is he not? A win against Detroit in their stadium, especially where JJ McCarthy played college, won a national championship there, that would be like a where legends are made type situation. And that is what we should root for in a week and a half here. It's a must-win game playoff-wise. We need a 2022 resurrection in resiliency and toughness. Like how we saw from that year, maybe not the best overall roster, but those guys played together, they played hard, they battled through adversity, and they got through it, made it to the playoffs. This game has franchise-altering implications in my mind. If JJ McCarthy plays very well and has that signature win, it could change the trajectory of the next few years for us. If not, if he does terrible, we're just going to have to wait and see and let him develop. But it could be very, very shaky for the next few years, especially with him going behind this depleted offensive line. Let's get to 4-4. I think, as I've said, I think this is winnable. Let's at least try and stay in the race. 3-4, better than 1-5. Actually, it'd be 1-6 to wait 3-4. I cannot do math right now.
We can't do math right now. Well, you know, let's not win or hold on.
Let's not win.
Clearly, okay.
Let's tank the season. Let's get that first overall pick. How about that?
Let's not lose 3 in a row here.
No. We kind of need to do what the Chargers did. They lost 2 in a row. They got back on track, and they looked hot, dude. So.
And I think, you know, I'm hoping that maybe Detroit, I know that they don't fear us. I hear them talk about how, you know, well, we've beat them the last 2 years. So, and they're right. Like, why would they? But I'm hoping maybe they let their guard down a bit. And then we come in. We have to absolutely attack them, because although what I want to say is that all we need is JJ to be decent. Like, please just be okay. But it's the Lions, and to beat them, we absolutely need to attack them and come out completely different and ready for this game. I'm hoping that maybe my theory is that JJ's just really good at divisional games, and somehow he'll just find a way. Yeah, maybe he'll just find a way to beat the Lions. It's possible. I'm a little fearful. I hate to admit it, but I mean,
Brian O'Neal and Christian Darisaw could very well come back for this game, which is massive. And it's like you said, he just needs to have competent play, just stick to the fundamentals, and the defense is going to be massive in this game. We need the run defense to step up and not allow Jahmyr Gibbs to have I would say, geez, the floor and ceiling for Gibbs on this game is either it's a 6-touchdown Alvin Kamara Christmas type game. Yeah. Which, please God, no. Or we can hold him to just 2 weeks ago, Saquon, we held him to like 30-some yards. So it's very possible. It's going to be tough, though. It's going to be the biggest test they've had all year. and it's already a depleted team.
The momentum, the possible momentum, if they do win this game, would be great.
And this is the Vikings we're talking about, okay? They're never going to just outright fold. I'd like to believe that, and I know that they have that in them still. I'd like to see them come out and destroy. Not destroy, but let's just have a
Please just be
competitive
decent and
game.
win.
And let's edge this one out, dude. Let's get to 4-4. So.
Absolutely. Let's go. Signing off. Well, you know what? We usually do a prediction. I don't even want to give a score prediction. I'm too scared I'm going to jinx something.
Yeah, I'm going to hold off on predictions. Maybe we'll get that on social media here. Our score predictions, but I'd like to thank Lucas for taking the time to send in his awards and whatnot from Mexico. Hope you have a great rest of your vacation, buddy. And Skull Vikes. Let's rest up, get these guys healthy, and let's go beat these kitties, dude. So
let's get back on track. Let's be optimistic.
Back on track.
We need the shakeup. JJ shakeup. Let's go.
JJ, let's go. JJ 2K, let's go.
Signing off. I'm Alaana.
I'm Phil.
Skull,
baby.
So, hey, Vikings fans, I'm with you this week. Very painful stuff to watch. My heart goes out to you. I think about my friends Phil and Alaana. I know they don't always take these tough losses so well, so I hope you two are doing okay. Hang in there. It's a long season. We're not even halfway through this thing, and it really is a roller coaster most of the time every year. So, we could be feeling a lot different in 10 days. We'll see how it goes against the Lions. I'm anxious to hear what you guys have to say about the game and who gets your awards for the game as well. Peace and love from Puerto Morales, Skull Vikes.
It's Vike Nite.